You can't just, sometimes you can post something on open forums, and sometimes their policy says, but not for research. So you would have to double check that, because then somebody will just tear your sign down. That's something to think about too.
I have a question about that. So I think along the lines of looking at it, going to a college class, asking for you to participate in research. However, I was thinking that I need to go off campus for that information.
But you're recruiting on the campus.
So I do need to go to the campus.
Yep, you need to find out from that college campus what you need to do. Just like here. Do you want some guy walking in here right now going, hey, what do you got? You know, just we can't do it. You know, this is a smaller setting, right? But even a huge lecture hall, I mean, with 500 students in there, you have to have permission to gain access. Now, there's a lot of workarounds, and yours is a good example. So let's say you have a certain question that you want to ask them, and there's restaurants or pizza places or things all around that people would maybe be frequenting. And you could say to the Panera Bread guy, hey, can I hang up a sign? And they have, a lot of the places have public boards. And you can hang it up. And one thing I'm always a promoter of is a small incentive. So even though it seems expensive to give out an incentive, like if you wanted to interview people, as long as it's not coercive. Like you wouldn't give an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old kid that you want to talk to about, you know, $800 to talk to you for an hour. I mean, you could, you know, call me and I would do it. Yeah, call Harley. But to give you an idea, I'm in a long-term adoption study. My son's adopted, and through the Oregon State Health Sciences. And they will come and interview me and my son, and they make us play these games, and we have to paint and listen to music and react, and it will be for 4 or 5 hours. And they give me $150, which is not, it's, you know, it's a lot of dancing and painting for, you know, for a long time, right? So, you know, that's a long time that somebody's there. So you have to kind of make it so it's worth it. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll do it, it's important, but it's not coercive. You know, I'm not like calling them up going, when can I sign up again, you know? So it's something to think about. So in your case, you could put signs out around the community where the people might be and have them contact you instead of going to the college class. Now, if you want specific individuals that were in a college class, if you wanted them because of the content they're taking, then you would need to contact their IRB and say, I want to recruit from this class. What are the steps that I need to do if I'm even allowed to? And I can tell you, like, it's all institution dependent. Some, like community colleges I've worked with are way easier. Small colleges who want to know specific information that you share back with them. Big universities, really tough. All right, so what I want to do is just kind of wrap up some of the common issues that you face with the IRB. So the kind of the laundry list. Targeting vulnerable populations, people with sensitive topics, potential conflicts of interest or significant bias, obtaining difficult site permission, and not thinking about all the logistics or feasibility behind your study. I have a little story about this one. I have a story for all of them. Research involving potential conflicts of interest. Do you remember years ago, for a while, those glasses, like those video glasses that were kind of a phase? This might be 5 or 6 years ago. You put these virtual glasses on, and then you'd pretend you're in another world. Yeah. They still do that? I don't know, like Second Lifers and stuff like that would put these things on. So I was on an IRB, and this woman wanted to do this whole thing looking at these glasses, and it was going to, it was a sensitive population with PSTD, and they were going to show them certain images, and I kept thinking, God, that's just so weird that, you know, it seems way outside. It was in the School of Ed. It seems so outside the scope of a School of Ed. Like, why would you be doing this? And so we had her to a meeting, and I was the primary reviewer, and I asked her, I said, do you have anything to do with this? And like these glasses? And she's like, no. And then I thought, I'm just not, you know, feeling it. So I Googled her, and then I realized, oh, I went to images. Oh, her boyfriend is the CEO of the company. And it was essentially like doing this whole involved market research. and she didn't disclose her relationship. And so it's really hard. I mean, it's so easy nowadays, unless you have a name like Heather Miller. It's a little harder, but you could find me in a couple of seconds instead of 1 second. But I mean, it's really easy to find information out about the relationships that people have in situations. And so just making sure that, that when it's okay to have a conflict of interest in some cases, or, if you work at the place and you want to do something, you just have to disclose it so that you can make sure that everybody is safe. So, and when it's just, so feasibility issues again, and you'll hear me for the next couple of hours. We're going to go around the scenarios and talk about this. But these are the issues that you really need to think about: the complex site permission, data usage agreements. So even if you wanted to use record data, like for example test scores or a data from a therapist's office, you have to have certain data usage agreements in order to use those. Vulnerable populations we discussed is not only in military research and, of course, prisoners. So then let's look at some scenarios. And I have, how many here? I have 5. And then I want to talk through these scenarios, and then I want you to write down what you think. We'll get to that part, what could be your stumbling blocks, and then we'll go around and look and see what could happen with you. Okay, well, let's talk about this. So Jan is an assistant in the Office of Social Workers and Therapists that help mothers that have their children removed by the state. Jan has access to all the records for her job, and for her study, she wants to use these records. She isn't going to talk to any of the moms. She's just going to use the records.
Yeah. Right.
These are all 5 of these things are things I've seen in the last 3 days. Yeah, since it's Friday when I pulled this is all stuff that's on my, if I went back 2 weeks, you'd be like, come on, now you're making it up. But I'm not. I don't ever do this. So is this possible? Is there any way it could be possible? If she got permission from every, that's right. If she got signed consent from every single mother, that the data, that would be 1 step. She'd also need to get site permission from the individuals in that office. Sometimes they might say you need to de-identify the data once you get it, or we will de-identify it for every record you get consent from. How could you track them down to consent? How could you do it without being coercive? Like if they came for like a meeting, let's say it was like a group setting like this and they were there for like a support group, could she talk to them then?
Put a flyer up in the lunchroom or a common area.
She could put a flyer up. She could say, I want to do a study, and if anybody is interested, she could hand out a card. But then she would need to get signed consent for every single person.
I can have to offer consent.
This would get, and that's see, for me that would, and you're going to be like, Heather, you waffle. I don't think an incentive is appropriate in this case. It's already data that are there, and I wouldn't want my student, if it was me, giving money for them to access records that already exist. How do I explain this? Because since the record is already there, I don't want her to be paying people for their records, I guess, in this case. Different than if she was going to ask for interviews, yeah. Okay, so it's possible to do this study, right? But she's got some real feasibility issues. Because getting everybody to sign the informed consent and give it back, what happens if she wanted to do a quantitative study and she needs 30 participants? She got 4 back.
I just can't see moms that their kids are going to move by mistake giving over. That's why I said maybe instead of saying why, because I can't see them. They already have trust issues with the county, and then this is an assistant in the office, and now she's giving her rights. You know what I mean? I just can't see it.
Right, and you guys are way more tuned into populations like this than I am, right? Because this is what a lot of you guys are interested in. So, yeah. Just, you know, there's some stuff here.
Can I add a question?
Yeah.
Sometimes when you initially sign up for a program, there are some consent forms that you stay out. So say that they check the system and they're consent form saying that
Your data might be used for research. Yes. Great comment. If that was the case, and it said your data might be used for research, as the IRB reviewer, I would ask to see the review, a copy of the letter that every person signs. Then who's ever in charge of this office, the head person, I would want them to write a letter saying how the data are going to be transferred to the student, like de-identified, or will the student have to I've seen it where that takes a long time to de-identify records. I mean, it's literally with the whiteout and the Sharpie, right? A lot of times. So I've also seen where they give the records to the student in the office, and the student has to de-identify the information while sitting in the premise of that office.
I don't know what she's actually using it for. Like, what is she?
It wouldn't, you know, this is the thing with the IRB. We've spent all morning talking about it. There's methodology, which is the method of which you're going to conduct your study, but the IRB should focus on recruitment and protection of the participants. So it gets to be, you know, if she's going to use it, she would write down in her application what the advantage of doing the study would be, but, you know, maybe it's just to see if those moms have a trend. Maybe she's looking for a trend. Who knows?
I just see for the participants really, I mean, this population, because there's like let's say the county offices, you know, have peer-to-peer support office. So it would make sense to some mothers to participate. It was going to help, you know, mothers in the future or families in the future to be more willing to participate. Maybe that could be an end where you can get them to sign off. But I think it would matter to the participants what it's for.
And that would be, in an informed consent, you always have the benefit of the study. Like the benefit of the study will be that other mothers will better understand the process, or, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, the benefits and I mean, I don't want to even say graduate student research. All research are so tiny and incremental, right? I mean, this mother would never feel the benefit of your research study. It would be very tough for them to. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's pretty tough. Okay, I got a bunch of these. I can talk about it here. What's this one? Oh, okay. Kevin wants to do a study that looks at how children that have brain tumors grow and develop. He has had an intervention that he wants to try where he reads the children, there's a dog in the room. How would he recruit? What kind of permissions would he need? Would this be a full board study? Clearly I like dogs. Okay, so let's start with the first one. He wants to look at kids who have brain tumors.
Medical information, how's he going to do that?
What do you think? What could he do? Nobody wants to talk to, he wants to talk to these kids.
Doctors can't relate to the HIPAA.
That's right. Doctors can't relate to the HIPAA. A parent could. How are you going to find him? He could where? He could maybe at the hospital. They might let him. For parents who are in a support group, he could put up a flyer.
There's online support groups.
Exactly. There's online forums. Like some are moderated, in which case you would need to have permission from a moderator. Some are not. Some you have to be invited to, like, you know, Facebook groups where you have to be invited to the group. Okay.
You can also go the other way with the organization that's providing the dogs in the first place. Is that right? There's groups of people that bring animals into hospitals and all kinds of people.
Right. He could go there and to find out if they had kids with brain tumors. So, okay, so think about it. So we've come up with all those ways: flyers, online groups, going through the dogs. What's the feasibility? Like, how quickly is he going to get participants? Look at you guys with all the faculty. anything wrong with it anyway. Is it an impossible study? It's not impossible, but what are we talking about with time, you think? Months. Okay, what other types of things would he need? He has a dog. Exactly. It has to be a certified therapy dog. It can't be like Kevin has his own dog. And he's really fluffy and he's going to bring it in. Yeah, it has to be a certified dog.
There are also questions about his intervention method.
The intervention is where he reads to the dog. The kid with the brain tumor reads.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that the dog is a certified dog. Would this be a full board study?
Yeah.
Yep. Kid. Period. No discussion.